It's making my eyes water, to be honest.
I didn't want to say anything about it.
It's making my eyes water, dude. It is. It feels like someone's got a lighter to my gums right now.
And just softly
look right into the camera and cry for us, Nicky.
Yeah, man. I'll be there for sure.
Dying. I gotta go. I'll be right back. To be honest.
Honestly,
Oh, damn.
take a lap real quick to like clear your head.
What's up, all you alley cats? Welcome back to the worst show on the internet, aka the FloGrappling Show. As always, I'm Trey Robinson. We got Joey Gilps right there, Big Uncle Reid right there, and then Slack Barrett over on the stick mic. He's gonna beatbox for us later in that bad boy. Yeah, so don't mess with Slack today. And then special guest, young Nicky Ryan. Everybody give it up for Nicky Ryan. Welcome
Our
back.
most popular guest.
Yep, our number one most recurring guest. At this point, I think we should let you just host the show if you want to moving forward.
So what do you want to talk about? What's going on?
Yeah, what's our structure for today, Nicky?
Yeah, so gonna be recapping WNO this time around.
That's true. That's
But really, anything else you
business.
want to talk about is on the table.
Yeah,
so.
we have no limitations, you know. So
We mostly talk about jiu-jitsu and zins.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like the kind
That's
of
pretty
thing.
much all I do. Add in some video games in there, and that's it.
yeah, that's the Nicky Ryan lifestyle right there,
Exactly,
dude.
yeah.
Jiu-jitsu, zins, and Marvel Rivals. You know.
What character are you playing now in Marvel Rivals? Like, who's the?
And on how many milligrams?
Right now, I'm playing the new character that just came out, Emma Frost. I could play every role in Marvel Rivals. Normally, I play tank, but it's mainly tank and DPS. But the new character that just came out for the new season, Emma Frost, is
Just immediately just jumped on, became the best in the world at it, or what?
Those sound like deep
Getting up there
cuts.
for
I don't know
sure.
those guys. Emma
Yeah,
Frost?
To be honest, I don't know a lot of the characters in the game.
Yeah, me neither. I'm not a nerd.
I know Hulk. You know.
Yes,
Hulk's-
it's Hulk, Doctor Strange.
Yeah, true. But yeah, excited you're back on. How many milligram in a gaming session do you think you go through?
A lot. I mean, especially now that I had ACL surgery, those are some long gaming sessions. So,
Yeah.
we're probably powering through a pack of Zins.
Dude, we were talking about this off camera, but we got to get you streaming, bro. Like, whether it's like us helping out with it at first, but then really it's like the people need the Nicky Ryan 8-hour stream playing Marvel Rivals. I think they would love it. You played around with it at all? Thought about it?
100%. I've had tons of people ask me to start streaming. I've just been too lazy to actually start it.
Yeah, well, we got to get that going. But today, obviously, we're going to recap WNO 27, huge event that we got to talk about. A lot of crazy stuff coming from that one. Later, we'll talk a little bit about BJJ Stars. There's a middleweight Grand Prix we want to get your thoughts on and everything, and we'll see what else happens along the way. This is one of the episodes, I think at this point, my mom knows, like, whenever you come on, maybe she shouldn't watch because we're going to kind of do too much. That nicotine is going to be too much of a focused part of the episode,
Yeah.
So I guess,
We don't condone it.
Yeah, no. We do not condone it.
Bad idea.
Yeah. Don't go down this path. You don't want this. It makes you feel better all the time. It makes the bad times turn into good times. You don't want this, Dewey.
Disclaimer there.
Yeah.
When let me ask this to start off, because there's a new move that's been rolling around, seen it on YouTube, seen it around, the Nicky-otine.
Yes, her Nick-otine.
The Nick-otine. Who named this? Because this is one of the greatest move namings of this generation.
Yeah, I think it was actually our videographer, Tony Lugo, who made the name. I think Ethan tried to take credit for it.
I was going to say, I heard Ethan was
I'm
trying
pretty
to
sure
okay.
Ethan tried to take credit for it. I'm pretty sure Tony said it to Ethan, and then 2 minutes later, I think Freddie was filming, and Ethan just claimed credit for it. But
All right,
I'm
so it's
pretty sure
Ethan's idea. Okay.
Yeah, I'll credit
Okay,
Ethan.
Ethan's idea then.
Which
Got
one of
it.
these guys can it was Ethan's idea.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, pretty sick move though, right? It's kind of like
What is it? I haven't seen it.
Yeah, so it's
All right.
I was doing a lot of like the seated katagatame. You guys know that one? Mm-hmm. It's
like what Kaynan tapped out Renee with.
Yes, yeah, that move, exactly. So I've been doing that for a long time, and it's pretty much just a reverse seated katagatame. So like normal seated katagatame, you have the head and the arm both on this side, and then you have the lock high up in the armpit here. So the Nick-otine is pretty much on the other side. So you have the head kind of shelved on your hip, and you're locked on the side of the head rather than the armpit. So it's like a reverse seated katagatame.
Gotcha.
Obviously, you're injured right now, but can we rain check you for whenever you're feeling better? You come and you show it to us, and we kind of talk about that move.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Awesome. I look
absolutely.
forward to that, man.
Hell yeah.
High percentage. You hit it a lot in the gym and stuff.
Yeah. Prior to getting the surgery, I was hitting it a ton, man. Like a lot of people who I normally struggle to finish in front head, I was hitting them with it. So.
What about switching from like the usual side katagatame to the Nick-otine? What makes it better or worse? You know, is there a reason you started doing it that way?
So I actually don't get it out of normal seated katagatame because it's got to be on the complete opposite side. It's actually more out of like anaconda situations. Like, you know how when you're going for an anaconda and you'll have people who kind of like bridge up into you and open the elbow, so it's hard to get the figure four locked. It kind of lifts their head off the mat, so you can kind of like scissor your legs and turn belly down and just shelf the head on the hip.
Gotcha.
So it's mainly out of those situations. I got the idea initially because we were doing.
Can I guess? Was it with Nicky Rod?
Yes.
Yes.
It was with
I was like, that's a very Nicky Rod thing.
Did you have a bunch of nicotine in? And it just came to you?
Yeah, doing it with Nicky Rod, because I was actually trying to finish him in a fully locked arse. And yeah, I like initially came up with the idea, but had no idea what it was doing, but felt like there was something there, and then kind of started working on it.
Nice. So a slight new variation on the kind of the classic Darce Anaconda front headlock system, huh?
Yeah.
How fun is that, like innovating moves and stuff like that? Do you feel like you're really onto something, and like when you get to a certain level when you can just start like making up your own moves and exploring your own moves, like it's gotta be rewarding.
Yeah, it just like really makes training a lot more interesting. You know, if you just come in and do the same moves every day, it kind of gets stale and a bit boring. So it's nice to come up with new ideas, work on new things.
Nice. All right, I'm gonna start hitting everybody with that. I gotta hit that, and I gotta hit the Woj
dibs.
lock.
I dibbed
Yes.
it.
I hit a Woj lock last week. I hit a Woj lock last Monday on somebody.
You dibs the Woj lock?
I didn't dibs it, but like.
Oh, okay. All right, I get it.
I feel like Chris dibs the Woj lock.
Yeah.
Yeah. But all right, let's get into some WNO stuff. We obviously got a lot to cover. Huge event. Your teammate Nicky Rod in the main event, kind of showing everybody that, you know, he's not messing around. You know, he came out, ended up mounting Kaynan, but it was a crazy match overall. I think one of the best heavyweight matches we've seen in a long time. I saw some people online talking about they thought it was lackluster or whatever. I disagree with you. I think you hardly ever see two heavyweights or two people at this level in grappling where the tide completely changes at some point in the match. It's so often that like this match very well could have, it started out the way it does. Kaynan gets a takedown and kind of gets on top, starts chasing the back. This match could have just ended there in most scenarios, you know, especially in like a shorter time, maybe a different rule set. Then it just like ends with Kaynan just staying in headquarters, near passing a couple times, and then that's that. But for Nicky Rod to finally get out, come back up, get his own takedown, get the mount, like that's pretty insane. But what did you think overall of this match?
Yeah, I mean, both this and the co-main, especially for like heavyweight matches, I thought that they were super exciting. You know, I mean, if you compare these to a lot of other heavyweight matches, there's a lot more scrambles happen in these matches compared to the others. But yeah, I mean, game plan for Nicky Rod, like, you know, we kind of knew Kaynan has the tendency to come out a bit hot in the beginning and at like too high of a pace, and then he starts to get tired towards the end. So we kind of, the game plan was initially to just get him tired, you know, use hand fighting, create scrambles, get him tired. And then, you know, about 6 minutes in is when we start to up the pace and really go on the attack. Kaynan did a great job of putting Nicky down, getting to his back. He did a really good job of following. Nicky Rod is one of the hardest people in the world to control when you're chasing his back. So Kaynan did a great job in the beginning, you know, chasing him. And then I knew that once all of that scrambling was over, I was like, okay, Kaynan's definitely going to be tired now. So as soon as Nicky Rod got back up to his feet and they were squared up, I was like, this is when we up the pace, and he just immediately shot and put him down.
Yeah, if you want to go back real quick, Slack, to kind of just that takedown, because in this moment, was this surprising at all to everybody? Was it, because it is like, I feel like Nicky Rod is revered as one of the best wrestlers in jiu-jitsu today. And I mean, Kaynan did get a clean shot into his legs, put him down, kind of like a, oh shit, because Kaynan talked about that a lot ahead of time.
That was important to Kaynan. That, like, he was going to show off his wrestling, show that he could put Nicky Rod down.
Yes, yeah. I was definitely surprised that he was able to put Nicky Rod down, especially like that quick, that early into the match. I definitely was not expecting that.
But it's kind of like you said, I think both guys here obviously show some incredible jiu-jitsu. Kaynan, for one, like his ability to keep chasing the back and not to just completely let Nicky Rod escape, because there's so many moments throughout this like minute of scrambles here where it's like, okay, shit, Nicky Rod's out now, and then it's like, oh, never mind, kind of puts him back down, gets back on the back. Like there's kind of an insane amount of just back and forth within this scramble.
No, for sure, yeah, and we worked a lot with Nicky Rod after his match with Victor Hugo on just, defending the back, defending the hooks, getting out of 4-point, stuff like that. And it really paid off in this match.
It looks like that 4-point was definitely a thing that Nicky was worrying about and working on.
Yes, yeah. Like that was like that. One of the main focuses after the Victor Hugo match was just getting better at those 4-point escapes.
Yeah, and then you kind of see here with Nicky Rod then getting a takedown of his own. It was almost like, Nicky Rod's like, hey man, like you said I wasn't the best wrestler. You already kind of like almost put me down, almost kept me down. Now I got to show that like I can take you down too, clean.
Yeah.
And there is a little bit of an element where I feel like maybe Kaynan might have made a little bit of a tactical issue where it feels like he concedes it pretty easy because he thinks he's going to just wrap the guillotine. But then you just see his arm kind of floating in space. Like he didn't actually get the neck or anything.
Yeah.
And then at that point, it was just Nicky Rod just stepped over into that mount. So
yeah. Nicky Rod did a great job of just transferring to the hips off the takedown. So, and like he did a great job of covering the legs here, so it just like completely eliminated the threat of the guillotine.
Yeah. And then, you see here he kind of just slides right in, and there's 8 minutes left on the clock, and that's pretty much where this one stays,
Yes.
But, like, you have a lot of experience, in professional grappling settings. First of all, how hard is it to just stay on top of a guy like this and not allow them to escape? But also, how hard is it to escape in this position?
Yeah, I mean, if you have Nicky Rod and mount, it's definitely not an easy task to get out, for sure. And yeah, I mean, especially with how explosive these guys are at heavyweight, it's definitely hard to maintain a mounted position. Nicky Rod did a great job of, the pummeling aspect in mount. The only criticism that we really had for Nicky Rod after the match was the mechanics on walking arms up. So one thing that he should have been doing better is so he does a really good job of just constantly putting pressure, walking the arm up. But if you see here, he's not reinforcing it with his knee. It's actually a perfect spot. Every time you slide that elbow up, your knee should be following behind. So that way it's a lot harder for them to bring the elbow back down. It's going to cause a much bigger reaction, get them more tired. So that was one thing that he needs to get better at.
You're saying kind of like instead of how he kind of keeps like a low mount here, he should have been like sliding all the way up, getting into like a high mount all the way up. Like
So you're just pretty much reinforcing it with the knee. See how he starts to kind of do it here a bit, but anytime that he would get the arm super high up, he wouldn't slide his knee up. And another thing too,
right there, there's that little space
like right here, if he slides his knee up, even though Kaynan might still be able to get it back down, it's going to cause a bigger reaction. His other arm might have to come across the center line, expose the back. He's going to have to give a bigger bridge. It's going to get him more tired. So, yeah.
You say criticism we had after the match. How quickly are you going to Nicky Rod and being like, okay, here's the things that we saw that could be getting better? How quickly after the match does that occur?
It's like immediately after. He actually rode back to Austin with us, so I spoke to him about it in the car ride on the way home.
Awesome.
Just straight to brass tacks right away, dude. You guys wasted no time.
Yeah. I mean, like after all the people's matches, I spoke to J-Dog after his match, after all the matches.
J-Dog kind of had a crazy one. That was a bummer for J-Rog, but sick for Ben Eddie, I'll say.
No, for sure. Yeah.
So what do you think overall then about the 15-minute time limit? Because I feel like there's some talk about kind of, what the best time limits are and stuff like that in jiu-jitsu these days. But I feel like this was a case for the 15-minute match or a case against it, to be honest, too. But I'm just wondering like where you kind of land and what does this say about the 15-minute time limit?
I'm personally a fan. It just, the thing with like if you have a 6-minute match, it's just like one sequence is going to decide that match versus a 15-minute match where as you guys saw in the past event, it's like you can still make a comeback. In a 6-minute match, it's so hard to actually make a comeback. You have to escape the bad position you're in and then get your own offense going all in within 6 minutes. So I'm a fan of the 15-minute time limit.
Mm-hmm. What do you think should be next for Nicky Rod? I know you're close to him. You guys probably have ideas and everything, but just in general, like obviously coming out, beating the ADCC double gold champ, the CJI champ, kind of got the dub there. What's next for this guy,
Yeah, I'm not too sure. He actually hasn't given me any thoughts on, who he wants to face next. I mean, maybe Luke would be a good match. Both just had, huge wins. So that's definitely an option. But I haven't spoken to him personally and asked him what he wants.
As you're slowly transitioning to a full-time Flo employee here, we're just slowly bringing you in more. I'm kidding. But if you were a matchmaker, where would you go with this heavyweight division? Because obviously we'll watch probably the co-main event next because that was another crazy one. But we had 4 of the best heavyweights in the world kind of all on this event.
Got Felipe Pena in the mix.
Felipe Pena kind of just waiting in the wings. He's been super dominant recently on Who's Number One and on ADCC. So like, how do you match make this heavyweight division at this point?
Yeah, to me, I think I would like to see a rematch between Nicky Ryan and Pena. Actually, I think.
1-1.
Yeah, just because the last one that they had was a bit controversial for sure. So I would love to see that one run back.
What do you do with Luke?
Luke possibly face the winner of those two.
True. Have him kind of waiting as like that solidified number 1 contender type of position if those guys are fighting for the belt in theory or something,
Yes, yeah. I think that would be a good idea.
But
and Luke joined New Wave, after you guys had already left and everything. So those two guys haven't trained together really at all.
They've never trained together.
They did fight in 2021 at an EBI where Nicky Ryan picked up the win.
Gotcha.
The absolutes bracket? Wow. Nice. But so obviously I think the heavyweight division's in a great place. Like a lot of these divisions really are in a great place now coming from this one. Because I do just think there's so much sick stuff. Like honestly, Owen Jones now I feel like has opened up a myriad of different potential matches that he could take and all that. But the heavyweights, to me specifically right now, I feel like that's the biggest thing going in jiu-jitsu where it's like, all right, where do all these pieces lie? Obviously Gordon's like pretty much retired at this point. Doesn't seem like he's going to compete recently, but you never know. Gordon could always come back at any time. So it's like, is the heavyweight division open now for the new number 1 spot, new WNO champion? So I think it's super interesting. But,
for sure.
We can go ahead and get into the co-main event.
Yeah,
Slack, if you got that ready.
I don't have the full match, but I have.
All right,
It's on the full replay tab.
Oh, I see. Okay, give me 1 sec. Now I see why you brought that up. Thank you.
Yeah.
It should be queued up right to that Luke match. But so it sounded like maybe.
I was just going to say, while we're pulling that up, we do have new heavyweight rankings and rankings for every single weight class up on the site right now. So if people want to go and take a look, something that's really monumental for this one is Gordon is out. After John acknowledging that he's not coming back, we talked to Gordon at the event. He's cool with it. And we have a new number 1 at heavyweight. We have a new number 1 pound for pound. So everybody can take a look and see what we're dealing with there.
Nice. Where's Nicky Ryan ranked right now?
Nicky, you are currently like 13th at 170, something like that, like 12th or something.
You want to dispute it? You want to talk shit to him?
This is bullshit.
Let's get into it.
Where do you think you should be ranked, Nicky? ACL surgery and all.
ACL surgery. I should be probably lower than that.
Take away the ACL surgery. Listen, I'll fight for you if you say
away
higher,
the
dude.
ACL.
I will. No matter what you say, I'll agree with you, Nicky. So that's a good chance.
I've had guys
Here,
send me.
we're not going to say no.
Wouldn't be the worst. I've had guys send me videos of them firing guns in response to where I placed them in the ring.
Oh my gosh.
You got a gun
I
with
won't.
you?
I won't tell you which of your teammates that was. But,
So it seems like maybe Nicky Rod versus Kaynan kind of played out maybe a little bit how you expected it to, right? Is that?
Yes, yeah. We knew that. I mean, you guys actually Flo interviewed me before, and I was like, the longer the match goes, the more it's going to favor Nicky Rod, and that's exactly how it went down. Kaynan came out, looked really good in the beginning, and then started to fade towards the end.
And so then Luke Victor, like you said, kind of had a similar storyline during the match. Did that play out also how you kind of expected it to play out then?
No, to be honest, I thought it was going to be the opposite. I thought that the longer that it went, the more it would favor Victor Hugo. But it was, the complete opposite, where Victor Hugo came out strong and then Luke finished strong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like a big thing going into this one that was at least on my mind, to be honest, was Victor weighed in at 272 pounds and Luke weighed in at 227 pounds. So like 45-ish pounds difference between these guys. But it was a conscious effort from Luke. Luke intentionally lost a bunch of weight for this. I think he was like 250 at ADCC or so. And we can pull this up on the big screen also so we can watch it. But and there was like once it was like, okay, that's cool. Luke's, he wants to be able to have better cardio. He wants to, make sure that he doesn't fade late in the match. But then when you see a guy step on the scale, and like Victor Hugo is also jacked. Like he's not like a big fat guy at all. So it's kind of like, holy shit, 270, bro.
Yeah.
Like
it's,
Bradley Martin couldn't even take out Victor Hugo. Bradley Martin's 260, dude. So it's kind of like it definitely.
Neither could Luke Griffith.
Yeah. So I feel like it definitely was kind of like, oh, is the weight gonna impact this negatively? And validation for Luke Griffith. I think it helped, to be honest.
Sure. Yeah, I think that it was a good call. I feel like in previous performances from Luke, we've seen him start out strong and then kind of fade towards the end. And this time around, it was like the complete opposite, where he's able to make a strong comeback towards the end of the match.
Here we go. We got the match playing now. Were you overall just? Go ahead.
I was gonna say this got to be so validating for Luke to like lose the Felipe Pena match. Starting out so strong and then he gassed really hard. It is what it is. He's acknowledged that. And then to come into this match like that, because when you gas, like that's the kind of thing that stays in the back of your head. Like I really hope I don't get tired out there. Then he comes out here and he's the guy who's actually putting the pace on. He's the guy who's able to break through that. It just had to be a really amazing feeling for him. That's the kind of win that really could be a turning point in his career.
Definitely. I mean, I feel like we are on a potential place here. We've already pumped the heavyweight division enough for you guys, I'm sure. But, like, I feel like this could be, and it could not be, like, Luke's kind of takeoff for, like, just taking over the heavyweight division. Like, obviously, there's so many great guys. Like, this event really proved that, like, any of these dudes can come out and become the best guy, from these events. But like Luke is on a trajectory where it's like, yeah, he got ADCC silver, which is obviously a huge accomplishment. Like very few people on earth can do that. But now to come out and beat Victor Hugo, arguably like one of the best grapplers on the planet. And it's like, if he continue to be hot, kind of take away his hot and cold aspect, like Luke could take over this whole division. But
yeah, for sure.
And Victor gets a lot of good looks here, and he's really hunting the back, like even more so than Kaynan was, and he really puts Luke in some trouble. He's got that body triangle the whole time, and Luke's trying to address the body triangle. Like I thought Luke was going to come out of this exhausted,
Yeah.
And he came out of it like pushing the pace, and it was like, whoa.
That was crazy to me. Is that Victor was able to was expending so much energy here. It doesn't look like they're doing that much, but. It must have been just sapping him like crazy to be able to hold those little movements.
You want to back it up just a little bit, Slack? You want to kind of talk us through, Nicky, what's going on in like this Victor's back control, but also what makes it where Luke can actually escape? Kind of like, do you see much from this exchange here?
Yeah, I have to watch it again.
Let's take a look.
Obviously, dude, based on my own jiu-jitsu, once somebody gets a body triangle on me, I consider it done. I'm
over.
I'm slowly waiting for them to submit me so we can reset.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know a way out of this.
Yeah.
Tap.
100%.
Man, and Victor with so much good momentum coming off a fight pass.
It really felt like Victor was going out there to kind of really solidify himself as the number one guy.
Yeah, for sure. It was a huge win at Fight Pass.
Yeah.
I feel like, honestly, a lot of fans kind of quickly started counting out Nicky Rod, at least like in our comments, where it was like, you guys are crazy. It's like you don't know how jiu-jitsu works. Jiu-jitsu, you take losses.
Yeah, people are going to lose, it happens.
Yeah.
What was the vibe in camp when that loss happened, but you still had to keep going for the Kaynan thing? I know you're, out doing your ACL thing and all that, but you're still, in with the boys and all that.
Yeah, I mean, Nicky Rod's like, he just like immediately moves past it. It doesn't really stick around long with Nicky Rod,
Is Nicky Rod secretly a philosopher? I was talking about this after the event because he gave this interview. It's a really good interview. It's on our YouTube and everything after he won. But there's like two sides of Nicky. There's the Simple Man podcast side where Nicky will come on and just like, I feel like sometimes they're trying to talk about the most outrageous, like silly stuff sometimes. Yeah. And then there's this flip side of Nicky where he kind of like is almost like reciting like very philosophical quotes and
Yes.
like mindset approaches to not just like grappling and sport, but to life as well. And I'm kind of like, all right, I think Nicky's like secretly studying philosophy in his free time. Like this dude's like studying the allegory of the cave and just like trying to, find some of these answers to life. Is that going on or what?
I mean, I think so, to be honest. Yeah.
You maybe having a kid, made him start realizing.
Yeah, probably.
Go to when he gets out. I want to take a look at Victor's body language for this because it really is just like.
Yeah, you could see after he gets out.
Like he gets out, he stays down for a second, just like kind of trying to collect his breath.
Yeah.
It'll be a second here because he's gonna break the guard.
Yeah.
Then when they go out of bounds and they have to come back in, as soon as I watched that, I was like, oh man,
he's tired.
This is a giant problem. Yeah, right after this.
Luke didn't miss a beat. He just immediately got out, started hunting the back.
You know who's going crazy for this was Jay. Look at this body language.
Yeah, you can tell he's tired.
Keep playing it.
I am playing it.
Okay, so he really was just down for a second.
Our stream lags sometimes.
Yeah, my bad.
I'm just heavy on the pause button as well.
Somebody who was going crazy for this was Jason Nolf, NCAA wrestling champion, Olympic level wrestler. Was over on this side of the mat going crazy for all the action all night. So that was pretty cool to see.
You train with Jason too, right? He
Yeah,
the B team.
I've trained with Jason.
So is the strategy then maybe to take the L in the first half of the match and just really try to conserve your energy for the second half of the match, or like?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say like take the L, but definitely conserving energy, starting out at a slow pace, even if that means you're losing some of the exchanges. I mean, I feel like the king of this is like J-Rod. I mean, it's been a bit different. Now he's been starting out strong and finishing bad, but earlier on in his career, he was.
I feel like J-Rod's just always going.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
When I watch a J-Rod match, I don't feel like he's going really hard at the end, but because I feel like he's going a million miles an hour all the time.
Yeah,
The other guy slows down.
But I can tell you that he's definitely is at least previously he's been a slow starter, where even though it looks like he's at a super high pace, he's not really putting power into everything.
Gotcha.
He has a lot of movement, but he normally starts out slow and then finishes strong.
So you're saying not necessarily take the L, but maybe like prioritize pace, like prioritize your pace, and
over like winning some of the exchanges.
Yeah, I'm sure J-Rod is good at this, even if it looks like he's always balling out. But you know who like I think the real king of this is currently? Adam Wardzinski. Like I don't know if you watch much of Adam recently, especially because it's mainly in the gi, but like Adam has this like constant pace where he will concede takedowns, he'll concede sweeps, especially if he knows like he's gonna come away from getting swept with his grips and like into like his butterfly game that he kind of wants. But like Adam matches are like weird in the way where it's like Adam's never really doing anything until you realize he's slowly been just like working into his game, and then eventually like applies a pressure and like a dominance in like the last few minutes where it's like, oh my God, okay, Adam was kind of in control of this all along. So he's a guy who like I think really has dominated the pacing of jiu-jitsu matches recently.
Yeah.
You super hip to Adam at all? You watch a lot of like IBJJF pans or?
Nah, not much.
Yeah, I saw like Jay and everybody was kind of training in the gi recently. Did you get in on that action at all?
I did not. No, I don't even think I own a gi anymore. To be honest, I don't even think I have one.
When was the last time you trained in a gi?
Man, that's got to be back at Henzo's.
Back when you were 14 years old, like.
Yeah, like I trained in the gi from like 14 to 16.
Right.
Dang, beast.
Yeah.
You missed the blue basement at all?
Yeah, for sure.
That was pretty cool spot.
Some good times.
Yeah, but obviously a big win for Luke there,
Huge win. Shakes the whole heavyweight division up. It's like that heavyweight division is interesting right now for sure.
Yeah, like talking about Philippe Pena and stuff. Like I do think there's a case to be made to run Philippe Pena versus Luke as well. Obviously
100%.
Philippe just beat him at ADCC, where we saw great moments from Luke, but ultimately Philippe was ever able to kind of take back control and win that one. So that's obviously a huge one. I'd be excited about that one. What do you think of that one? You think it'd be sick or no?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was a close match the first time, so I definitely think that's one to run back as well. Yeah.
Definitely. What match do you want to watch next? You got one that's on your mind, something sick you remember from the event?
I mean, to be honest, the one I'd probably want to see most is Nicky Rod Pena again.
Yeah.
I think that's the one that I would like to see most, yeah.
For sure. But what about from WNO that we can recap?
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I don't mind pushing the next matches either.
Let's see. I think that those were the two most exciting ones.
Had Elena, had Andrew, had Owen, had Sean.
Yeah, Andrew was.
Wojcik.
I mean, I feel like it's impossible for Andrew to have a boring match. I feel like that would be another good one.
Could you talk us through maybe the submission, because it was like kind of a crazy heel hook that.
I'd have to rewatch it to remember, but
it was like almost
he sat back on an inverted.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was almost like a reverse close guard counter in a weird.
Here, I got it right here. If we can pull it up, Nicky.
Definitely, we were kind of talking about this at the event where I put Andrew in this category of guys where it was like whenever Craig fought Ty at Who's Number One a couple years ago. And then afterwards, I remember he did an interview and he was basically like, yeah, I wanted to fight him before these kids get older and stronger and like become more of a problem. So I got my win early on them. I think there's a lot of dudes out there who are probably thinking the same thing about Andrew Tackett. Like, damn, should have fought this dude when he was a purple belt
sort of missed the
in 2021. Because he's an absolute problem now.
Yeah, I know. You see, like, we just spent so much time talking about pacing. This has got one guy who just does zero pacing.
Disregards it all.
Disregards pacing completely, but makes it work great.
Yeah, he does not care about pacing.
I think Andrew said this was his first ever heel hook in competition.
Oh, really?
Wow.
I think it was. Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
He was like, "Moo." He's like, "Man, the dark arts." He's like, I like how that felt. I like that. He's like, I get it now.
Yeah, he also said he was like,
dark arts.
He was like, I train him in the gym, but when you do him in the gym, you never like really get to rip him. And he was like, and this might sound weird to say, but it felt really good to just rip a heel hook.
yeah. And if this, I don't know, it feels unconventional to me the way he really finishes it.
Yeah.
He's gonna like sit
this is just a weird position already.
Yeah, Fabyury getting a little oil checky on him.
So he gets both legs like.
Yeah, he's like locked around both legs right there. So I don't even know what to call this position.
I'm sure John would have a name.
Now it's like almost reverse close guard.
Yeah.
But then he like sits that
throws the leg.
corner a little.
Yeah, like sits. Yeah, he sits around the corner and then just immediately picks up that inverted heel hook.
So not much control over the legs, to be honest, right?
Yeah, not much. Let's watch it one more time.
Sorry.
I'll go. Hey, yo, Fabyury.
awkward angle.
Hey, yo, Fabyury, pause, bro. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, he sits around the corner here. Yeah, not much control. He actually didn't even have locked legs there. But, I mean, obviously, inverteds come on quick. But the guy should have... I mean, initially, I think he should have,
the
tried to
replay
hide
angle.
the heel. Once he felt Andrew sitting around the corner, he needed to turn and hide his own heel. And then once it's caught, as long as the legs aren't locked, you still do have a bit of an opportunity to just start turning and rolling out.
I wonder if Fabyury was thinking about...
Andrew definitely ripped that heel hook.
Yeah,
so it comes on quick.
I wonder if Fabyury was thinking at all about reverse close guard. Obviously, like William had the huge moment at trials where he finished in reverse close guard, So, I don't know. It could have been on his mind because he does just kind of leave his leg just chilling there. But maybe he thought Andrew was going to completely kind of go into a reverse close guard or something. But
yeah, crazy
crazy finish from Andrew. What do you see for him in the future? You're going to have to show him who the boss is whenever you get back?
Hopefully. No, I think next, a great match to make would be Andrew and Mika. It's a match that was supposed to happen. To my knowledge, hasn't happened yet. I think
It did happen in when they were like blue belts.
Yeah, they did fight on Who's Number One, actually.
Oh, yes, you're right. I do remember that. But yeah, now that both of them have kind of, broken out.
Yeah,
and
they're way different now.
Way different.
Yeah.
I think that would be a great match to watch.
Yeah, and that was the one that was supposed to go down at WNO 20, where it was that welterweight bracket. Yeah, Andrew kind of like
hurt his
went
back.
insane with PJ and then kind of couldn't continue, and then PJ kind of stepped in, who was also dead. That was a crazy match, PJ versus Andrew. So PJ kind of stepped up. He's the man for that and was like, screw it, I'll fight again, and fought Mika, and Mika ended up getting the win there. But yeah, the Andrew match didn't end up happening. You versus Mika, another match that didn't end up happening that was supposed to, but that would also be a sick one always,
No, for sure.
Number 13 versus the champ,
Yes, yeah.
I'm kidding. But yeah, super sick ones. B team overall had a pretty great showing, So it was Nicky Ryan got the win. Chris Wojcik, Owen Jones, Taylor Highshaw.
Mm-hmm.
She's been telling us her name is Highshaw, not Hishaw, so we've been messing that up. Our bad. I think the only one who didn't win was Josh, right? J-Dog.
Yeah, J-Dog, who still had a great performance. I mean, he was dominating up until that last exchange.
For sure. So overall, great performance for B team. How much does that, what's the room like the next day or two after a big event like that? Is everybody kind of buzzing, pretty stoked on it all? Or?
Yeah, I mean, the vibes are good for sure. But yeah, everybody just goes back to work.
Yeah. Yeah. Jiu-jitsu guys don't spend a lot of time like relishing
Celebrating.
in wins or losses.
Unless
to be
you're
honest.
Craig, then you go on a 6-year bender after a win.
Yeah. Well, yeah, what's Craig up to? You got a Craig Jones update for us?
Who knows? I have no idea.
Hard guy to keep track of.
Yes.
I just always, like the main time I get a big Craig update, is every now and then on the FloGrappling Instagram, we'll get like a notification, Craig Jones tagged you. And I just I throw my phone out the window.
Yeah.
I chuck it. We're on the
Enter witness protection.
Yeah, we're on the 15th floor here, and I just chuck it as far as I can into the freaking into Lady Bird Lake.
Yeah.
I don't want nothing to do with that. But all right, so we got a few more things to recap, some BJJ Stars. But do we gotta crack open these Pablo 50s?
I'll give it a
See what it's all
shot.
about.
Yeah, I feel like we should just watch the Helena Liz match too, just because
True.
that was a pretty sick one. And I feel like Nicky would have some thoughts on that match. And Helena's our new women's champion. Pretty impressive performance. The way she just kind of took out Liz Clay kind of right from the get go here.
Nicky, Helena kind of operates right now in a space that you were really once in, that like teenage jiu-jitsu phenom coming out, tapping out all the black belts, and there's obviously the Danaher connection. Can you just kind of talk about like what that feels like being the teen who...
Is there pressure on you?
Yeah, what's the pressure? What's all that like?
No, I mean, to be honest, I feel like it's even less pressure versus later in your career. Because initially you're like young and you're like, oh, I have so much time. I don't need to worry. I'm the underdog in, most of the matches that I'm going against.
Always have an excuse.
Yes,
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm 17.
Honestly,
what do you expect?
Like in sports, that makes a huge difference. To be the guy who knows, like, dude, I'm a blue belt. I'm fighting a veteran black belt. Like, what does it matter if I lose to this guy? So you can just throw it all at him. Like,
100%. Like
You were a purple belt when you fought Gio there on Kasai?
I think so. Yeah.
Like one of the bigger ones?
Yeah. It's like, I think purple belt. But yeah, honestly, I think it's an advantage to be that young, competing. I mean, as we've seen, my career has just gone downhill since I was young.
I don't know about that. I feel like you have the JT win. Obviously, that was like a huge win.
No,
but
for sure.
I think I'd put you in a category of a guy.
You're not
that,
old. JT is old.
Yeah. I put you in a category of grappler where it's like, dude, anytime Nicky Ryan comes back, it doesn't matter, dude. You're back to like the top of the it's sick, dude. Nicky Ryan's here. Like, let's go, dude. This is gonna be huge. So,
for sure.
You've broken through to a different level. You can do whatever you want. You're revered.
Yeah.
Is there weird pressures growing up kind of as like almost like a kid jiu-jitsu celebrity in a way where it's like everyone has kind of watched you your whole life as like, well, let's see what this kid does, it's like, and just maintain that level of attention throughout?
No, I mean, for sure, it definitely adds some, extra pressure. But I think that's just going to come with, later in everybody's career,
Yeah.
The longer your career goes on, the more pressure that's going to build up. That's why I think it's very good to be very active. This is something that I didn't do, which I wish I did, is to be very active as you're coming up so that you get used to competing early on because there's less pressure. People are going to remember it less later in your career versus when you get later into your career and you have now every match is a big match that people are going to remember. And it's just so much more pressure. And it's like if you haven't been competing or you weren't super active on the way up, then, it's going to kind of hold you back later on.
That's honestly something Helena is incredible at. Like Helena is active every weekend. Like obviously
no gi. It's like she does do everything.
Yeah, we just saw her at Pans a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, she like garners the big attention at these major events for sure. But like she's doing opens, she's doing everything really. So it's like I feel like that's something she's kind of been hip to, is just like as much mat time and competition as you can possibly get, is going to eventually like keep accumulating and just make it easier and easier to like, I guess the goal ultimately is to like make it where a big competition feels just like another day of training, right? Like there's no real difference going on. So you need a ton of competition time to do that. But here she is already kind of got the back and
there.
Yeah.
She just completely disregards Liz's
almost
ankle.
Doesn't even have the back. Look at Liz scooting the corner, but she has such a grip on the jaw that she's able to whip her back over.
Locks up the body triangle there. Everyone always
Trey's
says,
already tapping.
yeah, for sure. Oh, no
Body
way, dude.
triangle, it's over.
Yeah, body triangle. That's true. Body triangle, I'm done. But like locked in chokes, dude. I live in those. I live in those, especially after
Thrive in those.
Especially how we talked about. Like some people can just I'm
Yes.
one of those guys. Man.
Yes, yeah.
I'm one of those guys, dude. Reid will have me fully locked, freaking lapel choke, whatever it is, and I'm just talking him through it. You know, I was like, hey, brother, if it's on, I'll tap. You know, just bright purple.
It never is.
Shit, man.
Oh my god! Actually, funny story. If speaking of being in fully locked choke, so we did. I don't think I talked about this on the last time I was on the podcast. We did a day in training where we started in a fully locked triangle, and I had Nicky Ryan.
Well, last time you came on, you talked about starting in a fully locked darce, and Nicky Ryan's impossible to darce. So.
Yes, yeah, okay. So I haven't spoken about this one yet. So yeah, there's one day where I think Damien asked me, he's like, start in a fully locked triangle against Nicky Ryan and see if you
It's
can
going to
get
be
out.
how you popped your ACL?
No. So I do it like fully locked up.
Nicky Rod's down.
And yeah, he's down, and I'm
else are you
in
gonna get
it
in there?
for like 3 minutes straight, and it gets to the point where all of the blood vessels in my face. I've never seen this happen. All the blood vessels in my face pop.
Oh my
so you
God.
just see all these little little
Oh,
blood
Nicky
spots
is doing it to you.
doing it to
okay,
me.
okay.
I'm
Okay.
the one in the triangle.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and
I thought you were squeezing so
Yeah, me
hard.
too.
like-
so yeah, all the blood vessels in my face pop on one side of my face, and my whole left side of my face just blows up, like gets super swollen.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Like a palsy or
and we eventually, I didn't even tap. We eventually had to stop, or no, I think I did end up tapping, but it was because my left nostril also started bleeding. So it's just like the left side of my face just blew up. Like my whole face looked deformed. And like there's a bunch of popped blood vessels all over my face for like 2 days.
What side was the triangle locked on? Does that make it?
Was that the
Pretty
side
sure
with
I
the
had my left arm
ankles?
across. It was locked like towards this way.
All
Gotcha.
right, so the arm was the one that was the carotid that was really suffering.
Yeah. But dude, my whole face looked crazy. I had 2 black eyes immediately after, and left side of the face swollen, all pop blood vessels. I've never seen that happen.
Just like a fun Tuesday idea.
I was like, wow, great. I like
the
ended up
record-
waking up the next morning with like dried blood all over me,
Yeah.
from a nosebleed. I was like, Jesus. This
Let the
is
record
awful.
show
Did you
this.
start that out being like, no heart rate day, no more heart rate after today?
Yeah, I know.
This is a key example of when people talk about how safe jujitsu is because like you can just tap and you don't get punched in the face. Like this is a great example of how not safe jujitsu is. Like,
Yeah.
like people will be like, oh no, you can just get choked out. There's no health repercussions of that. It's like there's definitely health repercussions of that.
Speak for yourself.
Unless you're Trey.
Yeah, that's nuts, dude. Were you scared?
I wasn't like scared. I knew it was gonna be fine, but I was just so surprised that I've never seen that reaction happen to anybody else.
Do you count that as like you kind of said like, all right, I tapped, but it was because of my face. Do you count that as you did not get submitted? in
Yes, I do.
Okay, nice.
I literally tapped. I mean, my nose just started pouring blood out of my left nostril, so I was like, "It's
That's crazy.
probably time to stop
Nicky
here."
was trying to kill you.
Yeah.
The real lesson here is like Nicky Rod needs to start doing triangles. That's what I'm learning here.
True. Yeah, I don't know. That sounds like the equivalent of like Eddie Hall trying to set the deadlift record or something, like some power lifter, and they're just like vibrating and their nose just starts gushing blood. Like you just had so much pressure built up in your head that your body was like, dude, we don't even know what to do with all this. Let's start causing a biological reaction. So this
did,
guy
yeah.
like
That is hilarious, dude.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Can I tell a choke story from back when I was on the East Coast?
no.
All right. moving
I'm
on.
kidding.
So I was in the DC area, so we would often have like people who are involved with different aspects of like the military or government kind of pop through once in a while, including this one guy who was super involved in teaching Marines like how to hold their breath underwater and do stuff like that, right? A survival expert on these things, especially breathing. And nobody could choke him out. We had 6th, 7th degree black belts in the gi, mounted cross choke. They've been doing this 50 years, tapped everybody, you know what I mean? Couldn't get the guy. He just like was always able to find that like one little, sip of breath to keep it going and like trying to shut down the arteries and everything. Like that dude was crazy.
Yeah,
like not even defending it.
If that's where you live, like if you live there, then yeah.
It's just like mentally just like, yeah, just don't get choked. I actually can just exist with like 1% of blood flow to my brain. He goes,
I think my main takeaway from this conversation and last time talking to you about being like Nicky Ryan being impossible to dart and some guys are just harder. Everyone out there, start trying to last longer in these chokes. I'm starting to realize they're fake, dude. like these are
pretty fake.
Yeah, it's like people always say like, oh, what's the best thing? You got to get to the back. You got to, put them out. Even in a street fight, it's like they can't fight anymore if you put them out. Yeah, right, dude. Break their arm. I don't know. I'm flip side. I'll tap to an arm bar.
Yeah.
I'm not going out.
Well, but then a couple months ago, 6 months ago, we were saying we've never seen a jiu-jitsu guy in a cast stop tapping to arm bars.
Yeah, true. But yeah, no. So
Maybe
I mean,
all maybe jiu-jitsu is not real. That's
Yeah.
what we're getting to the bottom of.
no, I've been testing my limits, dude. I'm not speaking from something I wouldn't do. We talk about Ray sometimes. Ray's one of our executives here at Flow. He's also a blue belt. I started if Ray gets my back, I go no defense. I go no hand defense on the rear naked. He locks it up, starts choking me, and I just gut it out. Just pure freaking dog, dude. I go hands up to let him know I'm not even defending. That's a mental battle. You got to win the game within the game. That's important. And then because I know he's getting discouraged and everything, and I just let him just try and finish me with the rear naked as much as I can. And I've been gutting it out. He can't finish me.
That's pretty good.
And then I did this against a blue belt girl, and I was literally like, like I thought I was gonna die. She's like a 18-year-old, I don't know, probably trained since she was a kid, and she did it to me, and I started coughing, and it was like rough. But so I don't know if that says more about me, that girl, or Ray.
Yeah,
but,
no, Ray catching strays here.
I used to do that too.
but
Damien, actually, I used to let him just back at Henza. This was back when he was like a blue belt.
this is funny that my story involves just hobbyist guy who works in an office, and yours involves one of the best grapplers.
Someone with an
I literally used to
record.
let Damien start in a fully locked rear naked and not hand fight or anything, and he used to be unable to finish me. He can do it now, but yeah.
Well, that was probably crucial for Damien's development, especially with his finishing mechanics.
Oh, for sure.
Like, I've taken Ray under my wing, and I'm trying to help him. I thought I was going to take this girl under my wing, but I'll never roll with her again. But, all right, dude, let's get into the real stuff, why everyone's here. We got these Pablo 50s. Okay, last time we did one of these Too Much Nick-otine episodes, a lot of people were in the comments. They were saying like, "Oh, my boys in Germany, they do 50 milligram Pablos." That's my German accent.
That's our Dima.
Yeah, they're like, we did those when we were young school kids and whatever. So we got our
pack these in my luncheon.
yeah, we got these in our hands, dude. We went out and found them, and we brought them back to show that we are man enough to never fight rear nakeds and to pop 50 milligram Pablos. All right, and I'm nervous. I'm nervous to do these.
An entire can of Zins in one pouch.
Yeah. Probably more than an entire.
Have you ever touched this level, Millie?
No, the highest I've done is 25, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, 25 milligrams. I did that when I was in Belgium.
Okay, nice. All right, well.
We do have some Narcan on site just in
Yeah,
case.
I don't think I'm gonna be able to keep this in for long.
Yeah, I don't know. We got them when we were in Europe, so it's been a minute. So I don't know how fresh they are still, but I'm not sure what the shelf life is. Here you go, Reid. Slack will.
Oh man.
At one point while we were in, come on, Nicky, you got it.
it?
I'm good on that.
All right, Joe's
One
out.
time in Europe, Trey just gave me a Zin, but he wouldn't tell me what the milligram.
I didn't know what it was yet.
Gave it to me. I started sprinting up and down the street.
Yeah, it was honestly very funny.
Yeah, Joe kind of wandered off.
Yeah, he got
All right,
he got
going
goofy.
in.
Put
Yeah.
Pablo, man. Jeez,
Oh,
these things
it's
are
gonna
kill.
burn so badly.
Yeah, it's potent.
It's definitely potent.
Yeah,
All right, we'll see where we go.
immediate burn.
We'll see where we go from here, where we end up. But
Oh, we got to talk about BJJ Stars.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, no, we still got a long
Real-
time for the podcast. Don't worry.
Yeah, real quick though, Alec Balding's been doing a lot of cool stuff in the jiu-jitsu content world. And he's doing these reaction videos, which are pretty sick. Go check out Alex. His main channel is a lot of normal stuff, and then he has a second channel where he reacts to stuff. Sometimes he watches our show and reacts to it. I assume he will because you're on. Skip this part, Alec. I know he doesn't like the Nick-otine stuff. He said last time, "Don't do this shit these guys are doing," and I agree with you. So just skip this part
we
for
agree.
us.
We agree.
But, yeah, don't show this to the kids. This hurts.
It's making my eyes water.
Dang
To
it.
be honest.
I didn't want to say anything
it's
about
making my eyes water, dude. It is. It feels like someone's got a lighter to my gums right now.
And just softly
Look right into the camera and cry for us, Nicky.
Yeah, man. I'll be there for sure.
We're gonna use that shot of your face really close as the thumbnail right there.
Dude, it's literally making my eyes water like crazy.
Which was more brutal, That triangle or this?
I think this is gonna top it.
Whoa.
It's so funny by the end his face
Triangle
is
wasn't
all like
making me
puffed
cry.
up. The
Yeah.
nose has like
I don't want to big dog Nicky Ryan, but is it in yet? Dude? I don't, you know what I mean? Come on, baby. You know, I'm just kidding. Pretty soon, I'm gonna grab Slack's mic and I'll start freestyling for everybody. My legs are shaking right now. I don't even know what's going on.
Now I'm getting past the initial burn. Now we're starting to get the head buzz.
Yeah.
Now the room's starting to float a little bit.
For sure. So this next segment is
Slack, are you going to be prepared to finish out this episode with just you and me
not sure
when
we can
these
talk
guys
about
have to
it. I'll
go
just
on
talk about
whatever
BJJ
medical
Stars.
situation arises?
Yeah. So this next segment is brought to you by Unfiltered Thoughts due to overconsumption of chemicals. We're just going to kind of say, I guess, whatever comes through our mind, probably not filter it. But let's talk about BJJ Stars. So obviously BJJ Stars 15, the history, they always kind of have a theme going with their events. And this one is, I mean, it's honestly pretty stacked. It's going to be a pretty incredible event. It's featuring a middleweight Grand Prix. Some of the best in the sport are coming out for this middleweight Grand Prix. Some super fights as well with Mayrum and Diogo. Adam Wardzinski's taking on Eric Muniz. But we want to talk about this middleweight Grand Prix a little bit. So obviously we have Mika, Jonatas, Gabriel Almeida. Who else we got, Joe?
Taza, Elijah.
We have, Isaac Michelle, while you guys fucking sit there and try to hold it together. We have Isaac Michelle going in.
So lightheaded.
I'm just
EJ
trying not to be
Barch
the
is getting
first one.
replaced by John Blanc. Rafael Paganini is in there. He is replacing Izaki Bahians, Elijah Dorsey, ADCC Trials winner, really good guy, 170, is coming up here to 185. This is going to be a super sick bracket. Jonatas is ranked in the world. John Blanc is ranked in the world. Isaac is ranked in the world. I think half these guys are ranked in the world. And to get them all there in one night, ADCC rules, going to figure things out. You doing okay, Reid?
My whole body is tingling.
I feel like I'm trying to
I'm just
filibuster
trying not to be
while
the
you guys
first
It's
one
like,
going
out.
to be hard to speak from now on.
I'm just trying not to be the first one out here, but
Yeah, no, be a pro. That's what I'll say. Be a pro right now.
lock in.
I've had
for you,
one
Trey, for you.
a time to- been
Cut
in
to
for 4
Slack
minutes.
just very disapproving of this over on the side. He's not into it at all.
You guys are just stressing me out. I'm just sitting
you want to get stressed? Put one of these in.
Yeah. Put one of them in.
yeah, right?
Yeah, I'm rethinking every choice I've ever made up to this moment right now.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and get it on the side screen also so we can see it real big. We'll kick it off with Joe. What are you most excited for this major event?
Sure. This is the first time that we are going to see Mika Nogi this year. I think that's going to be awesome. Obviously, he had that 2025 or 2024 to remember with the Super Grand Slam, youngest to ever do it. So many amazing wins. But this is the first time we're going to see him in a big bracket like this year. And it is going to be his first time up at 185 pounds in quite a long time.
However, though, the only guy wearing glasses.
Going to be an issue.
Okay.
Unless
I'm just wondering.
Unless he's been training with those fighting nerds guys.
Yeah.
And he's
True.
gonna be in great shape, right? Those guys are crushing.
That's honestly a cool part of this too, though, bringing up the glasses. Mika's got the Oakley sponsorship, dude. That's pretty sick. There's like a Oakley Brazil tie-in with, I'm pretty sure it's a connection that FEPA made for those guys. They give out Oakleys at the event and stuff too. So kind of a cool thing that getting huge sponsors into the sport of jiu-jitsu, Yeah. But Oakley getting in the mix is pretty cool. But obviously, yeah, like Joe said, Mika kind of coming back. We saw him at the Rio Open. He had a couple just quick matches, Mika doing his thing, kind of knocking the dust off a little bit at the Rio Open, but now seeing him back in such a high caliber event like this. Originally, PJ Barch was also scheduled to be in this, which to me was like the biggest possible rematch to have or match to have is Mika versus PJ. They had a little bit of a controversial match at ADCC.
Couple controversy matches.
Yeah, straight up controversial, yeah.
But Mika was able to get the win there at ADCC. A lot of people thought it could have went the other way in the decision, and it was excited to run that back. I think that's a potential who's number one match that should be on the horizon as well.
100%, yeah.
But even Andrew PJ again would be crazy. But I'm super excited for this one. I think there's some cool elements where a lot of time with BJJ Stars, it obviously is skewed towards a Brazilian competitor dominance, mainly because it takes place in Brazil. But they did a good job bringing in a lot of different people from a lot of different places, like Isaac being in it, Elijah Dorsey, Taza. But yeah, the who's number one 185 champ, Jonatas, is in the mix, as well as Mika, the 170 champ. So I think this one could be great. Overall, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, it's a super stacked bracket, man. I think I would have to pick Mika as the favorite just because he's the the most established grappler there. But man, I mean, that's a crazy stacked bracket.
Big time.
I think Isaac could do very well. I think a lot of people sleep on Isaac. Isaac's, very good. Elijah Dorsey's in there, and Jonatas has been absolutely killing it lately too. So
He's won 34 of his last 36 matches. One of those losses was the ADCC Trials final that was so controversial that he just got an invite to.
Okay.
So he's
At South American Trials?
South American Trials. He lost to Robinho, maybe?
Yeah.
So he has just been on a super heater, and even that was down a weight class. He's been on a super heater, won the WNO championship, ranked number 2 in the world. He's done really well under basically every rule set he's ever competed in at AOJ now. I'm really excited to see how Jonatas does in this bracket. It's also, there's going to be a lot of implications for like a WNO in this. Can you imagine if Mika comes in here and beats the WNO champion? What does that mean for him? Is he going to get a title shot? What if Jonatas beats Mika? That's actually like, are we going to have to run that back like a who's number 1? Because that's such a monumental result for him. That
I took mine out. This is gonna ruin the rest of my day. Dude, I gotta like.
Nicky's is right after.
I took it out.
well,
Let's go.
I'm like sweating right now.
Last man standing, dude.
Dying, dude.
Yeah.
I'm dying. I gotta go. I'll be right back. To be honest.
Honestly,
Oh, damn.
take a lap real quick to like clear your head. I totally
Reid trips on the way out.
Yeah.
Gonna go throw up.
Yeah.
All right. And only 4 remain.
yes.
Fun to you guys, or
This is honestly
this is like my actual nightmare. Like, what you guys are describing while working.
well, that's the fun/dark side of nicotine. It's like corporate sanctioned degeneracy. You can
Yes.
you can do it at the office. Obviously, 50 milligrams is too much. This is my legs are quivering. We tried to ride to the mountaintop, and we thought we were at the tippity top, and we were only halfway there. And we all learned a lot from this experience.
Yeah, that was good.
Where
I'm
you
good,
where are you
pal.
gonna go
I'll
from
stick
here?
with my 6 or 7
I'll go
Coors
right
Lights
back to my
before work.
sixes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, this is brutal. But I am excited for the BJJ Stars. I think another major match that I'm super stoked for on it is Mayroom versus Baby Shark.
That's gonna be awesome.
I think that's an unreal one. So obviously we have Mayroom, who's been super dominant on the IBJJF circuit. This one's going down in the gi against Baby Shark, who doesn't have a world title yet, but he's been right there. He has basically all the other titles you could ask for, ADCC and IBJJF wise. And I think this is a huge match for him, especially because it also kind of launches these guys into the world championship for this year. So I'm super stoked for that one. You gonna watch a little gi? Can we get you to come in and watch this one with us, or what?
If I was watching it here, I'd watch it.
if it was on.
It was on.
Let me just throw a little shout out to Baby Shark real quick, because this is him doing something that he usually does not do. Diogo really competes only in his weight class and doesn't move around very much. And this is finally him kind of bumping up to this 65 kilo in the gi, where he's going to take on Mayroom. Usually sticks at light feather. Now he's finally up a feather. Really happy to see that. Diogo's such a talent that I really want to see him start to like make some of these bigger matches happen in some of these biggest weight classes.
Definitely.
In some of the bigger weight classes.
And then we kind of have the queen of jiu-jitsu right now, Gabby Pisania's also on this one. She's taking on Porfirio, so I think that'll be a pretty crazy match. A little bit of
former absolute champions.
Yeah, so also kind of like a generational thing, right? Two of the best in their generations coming together in this kind of major super fight. So excited for that. Well, another person I want to talk about in the GP, though, is John Blanc. John Blanc is the one who replaced PJ, and I think that's a sneaky, dangerous replacement, because John Blanc, he's had like crazy moments. He's had some lows, some highs, but he is a very dangerous grappler, right? Like he can come in and he can straight up injure somebody. He's so dangerous on the legs. What do you think about John Blanc being added to this?
Yeah. I mean, like you said, he's a super dangerous competitor. I'm sure the vast majority of his wins are via submission. So I definitely think it's a good mix-up to the bracket.
Absolutely, man. John is, total wild man, like you said, kind of a later addition to the bracket, but he's been getting back more and more to competing. He was a little injured at one of the ADCC trials, I think, maybe in a match with Cedos, and then he came back in Nogi Pans last year and looked awesome, made the finals, picked up some wins over some really, really tough guys, former Nogi world champions. So he just showed that, he's just always the guy. He's always going to be super dangerous, always able to, you okay, Big Reid?
Yeah, man, dripping sweat.
Dude, I'm dripping.
You are straight. You are straight up.
My shirt is soaking wet right now. Like
Close up, Nicky. On
I'm like drenched in sweat right now. Like oh my god. Like, I tried to push through.
You're glistening.
But I just was like, dude, I cannot even push through anymore. Like
Reid got so messed up, he came back and his shirt's upside down. His shirt's upside down and he misspelled wrestling.
You got me.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude, that was brutal.
Yeah. I'll
You
chalk.
still got it in?
I just took it out.
Okay.
Yeah, they put them out.
Yeah. I'll chalk.
As soon as you were done, Nicky's was in for maybe a third of a second.
Yeah.
Dude, that was brutal.
Yeah,
It's gonna ruin the rest of my day.
Yeah. Got to chalk this one up to flying too close to the sun. You know, you live and you learn. It's like sometimes, you
That's
think
an L for me for sure. That's an L.
you think you can engage in these deep, these intricate technical exchanges, and we found out that that's a little outside of our.
Yeah, I knew I wasn't gonna be able to keep a 50 in for long.
Yeah.
It's just so funny to me because as a spectator, and I don't do nicotine at all. I just watch you guys put this little thing in your lip. Nothing happens, and then you all fall apart. What is the point of this?
Hey,
It doesn't look fun at all.
True. So shout out those German
yet it is.
schoolboys, schoolboys who are just, I guess, doing this and then going to like math class. Like, very impressive work.
Like when we were in Poland, everyone was just like laughing at us, that we couldn't handle it, and then we were just like, oh, it's just we do it every day, twice to 3 times a day. Like,
Yeah, they have like the Velo Maxes there, and they're just like they're like, did you do the Maxes yet? And we're like, I don't know. And they're like, this is the only one you should do.
Oh my god.
So, all right, going from 3 to 25 to 50,
Yeah.
But I don't know what in the jiu-jitsu world's exciting you right now, Nicky. I know you're kind of on reserves right now. You're doing your PT, you're doing your gaming, but is there anything going on in jiu-jitsu that's like getting Nicky Ryan excited?
I mean, not much, to be honest. I've been completely out of the loop. Like, I've barely even been able to go in the B team. I'm just solely focused on recovery. I have not been keeping up with what's going on in the jiu-jitsu world at all.
You've been following, you've been obviously involved in Who's Number One for a very long time. You've been on a bunch, you've been coaching at a bunch, just kind of like generally, like how did you feel about the one on Friday night kind of compared to a lot of the other ones you've seen and stuff like that? We're still building these things. We're still trying to, get better and obviously, doing bigger and bigger. Just how did that one, you think, stack up to kind of all the other ones you've been to? And
to be honest, I think it was one of the best ones. I think it was like, I don't think there was like a single boring match on the card, which is a very hard thing to accomplish, especially with that amount of matches. So yeah, I was very impressed with the last WNO, and how all of the matchups went.
Hell yeah, bro.
fun event, right? And it was awesome. One we didn't really touch on there was Xande versus Boogie, but Xande obviously had a huge contingent out there. Players going crazy for him. Like that was a pretty sick match too, right?
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, I thought that was one of the. Exciting matches, obviously, whenever it ends in submission, it's always one of the best, but as well as just the environment, like you said. Like, I remember they were, like, announcing Xande, and I don't know if you were backstage probably, or I don't know what point that was with other matches where you would be, but they were kind of, like, listing off his accolades, to announce him to walk out, and the place just was slowly, just like this roar was rising until finally they announced him, and the place went nuts, and then he delivered, so that was absolutely electric environment.
The place was, like, vibrating, it felt like.
I don't know if I've ever heard WNO get that loud.
Yeah.
In the venue.
Yeah.
But, I love doing WNOs in Austin. I think I wish we could do it here every time. I know we got to spread the love and get different markets involved in everything, but I do think Austin is really the mecca for jiu-jitsu as a whole, but also just for WNO. It's like so many local teams are here and they show out, like B Team, 10th Planet, Six Blades, all of that.
Yeah,
so.
if you have a show in Austin, I feel like it's guaranteed to sell out every time, as long as you get the teams from Austin on it. Yeah,
for sure. Definitely. But let's just skip ahead and watch Xande's submission here to give him a little love. A little bit of the Legends match here. Did you like the Legends aspect? We've tried a few different things recently. We did the kids match, the Legends match. Obviously, still some of the best matches. What do you like whenever you see?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Legends matches. It's so good to see guys who push the sport. Still getting these big opportunities and putting on a show.
I feel like they announced the first judge's favor went to Boogie, and Xande was just like, "Oh no, time to flip this switch and get that back."
I actually wasn't able. I was actually doing an interview for the Simple Man podcast, actually, backstage when this was going on, so I wasn't even able to watch this one.
Boogie had him in a real...
Boogie had a tight, or a really nice attempt at a foot lock, at a leg lock, and so and then he was attacking a lot from the bottom, so that's I think probably why he got the judges' favorite at first.
No, I mean he did better. It was like Xande told
great,
us when he came in, right? Like I'm more likely to lose a 5-minute match than a 1-hour match, you know.
But we did inevitably see Xande get to one of his classics here.
Yeah, Xande just, sometimes you got to play the hits. He just dusted off some old school jiu-jitsu here, locked up the Kimura, and then like once Xande gets here, it's kind of, that's a done deal,
Yeah, big time.
Man, shout out to Boogie, man. Gio also, those guys wait too long to tap in a submission. Like, he bent his arm all the way behind his back, then it's kind of like, but you see Boogie just like kind of grits it out for a minute. Like those guys are just so tough, man.
Makes you really get it. Like,
yeah. Don't tap to chokes, but you got to tap to those joint locks, you know?
Bro. If you don't tap on a Kimura, that's a bad one.
But, it's always great having you here, Nicky. Our most recurring guest ever on this show. So excited you're always here. Any last minute things? Anything you want to plug?
Actually, you mind if I ask a question just while we're here? We've been leading up this year to CJI too. You know what I mean? I know you've been out of the gym and probably the team's not selected. Do you guys know at least how B team is going to select their team for CJI or anything like that? Anything you can share?
As far as I know right now, I believe we're going to be having, and I don't know, I don't think this is set in stone. It could possibly change, but I think we'll be having like a kind of like an in-house tournament sort of.
A trial.
I think, not for every weight class, but I believe that if I was still in it, it would be me against Joe Chen. And then for the 77, and then Ethan versus Owen.
So is that to say that Joseph Chen has the 77 spot?
I believe, yeah. Joseph Chen has the 77 spot, yeah.
Do you know how this wild card aspect works? That's kind of a wild part of this event that I'm not super clear on, to be honest, but it does seem crazy where different gyms can pull in somebody from a different team, right, in their wild card spot. How does that work?
Yeah. So pretty much each team gets like one like draft pick sort of where you can, pull a member from a different team and have them enter onto your team. And I think right now we've been thinking about actually Victor Hugo as like a draft pick.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really, B team doesn't have a heavyweight that they might trust in for something like this.
Well, there's two heavyweight divisions. So, but again, nothing's set in stone, and I could be wrong about this. I'm completely out of the loop. I have barely been in the gym because of the surgery and everything. So take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, but this is what I think so far, yeah.
Flame him up, Craig.
Yeah, I know. I'll probably be getting messages after this.
No, I'm just kidding. Maybe at some point we got to get the return of Craig Jones to the FloGrappling show or something. Get him to actually come break all this down.
Yeah, it would be hard. It would be very hard to get him back in Austin.
Yeah, he might have to call in from Thailand.
Probably have to travel to him if you want him.
For sure. But
darn, I guess we better.
Yeah.
Any last minute thoughts or anything? Anything you want to say?
Yeah, just B Team merch. Make sure you guys check out our B Team shop, B Team YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. That's pretty much it. Thank you guys for having me. It's always fun being on the podcast, so appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, dude. Number one top guest on the FloGrappling show. Hopefully everyone at home enjoyed it. Make sure you tune in April 26th to BJJ Stars 15, and then right after that, we're going straight to IBJJF Brasilia National. So a lot of good jiu-jitsu coming up, and you'll see it all right here on FloGrappling.com, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.